Okay. Good afternoon, Rotarians. Welcome to February. This is our first meeting of the month, and I'm glad to be here. I have to say, I'm told that I have on this list here that I have to say thank you to two people or two things. One is Alex Dew for taking over last week. Alex, are you there somewhere? And I don't know what the order of this should be, but the other one's Puxatani Phil, who said that we're going to have an early spring this day. So I'm grateful to both of them. One's a rodent and the other is not. As we get underway, Mike George, you must be out there somewhere. Are you going to do the reflection today? And then we'll be led by Kate Fineski in the pledge.
Let us pray. Dear God, we thank you for the gift of work. Oftentimes we bemoan the fact that we must toil for our subsistence. But in fact, with hard work comes great reward. In your infinite wisdom, you show us the fulfillment from toiling and give us the rewards of the fruits of our labors. We thank those here today who with their efforts have created new jobs in our community. They bring value and worth to those who labor and increase the quality of life for many. Bless those who have the skills to bring these dreams into realities. As Rotarians, we thank you for the opportunity to serve others above ourselves. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I haven't said it for a while, but now's a good time to pull out your phones, tell the whole world that you're here and having a great time on social media, and then put the phone away. We're going to have a great program today. We've got the mayor, His Honor, the mayor of Rossford, Neil MacKinnon, who's going to talk about that humongous building that they're calling Amazon. I can't wait to hear that. Welcome, Mayor.
Thank you so much.
Our meeting sponsor today is the Toledo Club. Kathy, thank you very much for that. And Jeff, if you're out there somewhere, thank you as well at the Toledo Club. Introducing visiting Rotarians is Chad Rutkowski. Are you out there?
President Tim, we have two visiting Rotarians today, Matt Black from Findlay and Mark Owashi from Bowling Green.
Welcome both. Please stand up and be recognized. Of course, we hope you enjoy the meeting today and come back anytime. I would like to invite Rotarians to introduce any guests today at the floor mic. Hello, Mark.
Hey, President Tim. I have three of our new Rotaractors from the University of Toledo who I actually met today. So I would ask your indulgence to let them say their names themselves.
Hello, everyone. I'm Vivek Acharya from Nepal, and I'm doing Master's in Business Administration in University of Toledo, and my specialization is finance. Thank you.
Welcome.
Hi everyone, my name is Prasil Dhakal. I'm from Nepal. I'm doing MBA Finance and Information Systems from the University of Toledo. Thank you so much. And this is Nima Sherpa, original from Nepal. I go to UT for a MA/BA program, Masters in Applied Business Analytics. I'm an international student here, and nice to join you here. Thank you so much.
Welcome. The gentleman from Nepal. before you sit down, you might be interested to know that right after the earthquake that took place, I think about 5 years ago, this club, as fast as we possibly could, raised $100,000 for shelter boxes to help your country out as best we could. We like your country.
President Tim, first, thank you for joining us last Thursday night at Suburban Bottle. We had a great event, and it was great to have your remarks to prospective members. And today I have with me Maria Smalls-Reed, and Maria is with the College of Business and Innovation at the University of Toledo, in particular working with the dean in the foundation there. So I want to welcome Maria. Thank you.
Welcome, Maria.
Good afternoon, Rotarians. Today I have with me John Myers of eXp Realty.
John, welcome.
Good afternoon. I'm pleased to introduce my guests who are here from Africa. They are visiting Hospice of Northwest Ohio and learning how we do palliative and hospice care, and we are learning from them. Molly is the head palliative care nurse from St. Luke's Hospital in Malawi, Africa, and Weenus is the hospital administrator.
Welcome.
President Tim, fellow Rotarians, my guest today and for the rest of the semester is Cameron Weiner, who is interning with me from Owens Community College.
Thank you very much. Please enjoy the meeting.
Good morning. My guest today is Brooke Reddish. She's the Director of Marketing with The Collaborative architectural firm.
Okay, so is there a relationship there?
Also my wife. Also happens to be our first day back to work after having birth to our second child.
Okay, so what do we do, Max, if we like her more than you?
Well, then you better...
We're a team. You gotta
Okay,
take us both.
Welcome.
There you go.
Max, as you're sitting down, would you like to make an announcement about euchre?
Hello again. I just want to remind everybody that if you like to play euchre, we'll be meeting again on the first floor of the Toledo Club in the Red Room next Monday. It's every second Monday of the month, so it'll be the 10th this month. We get together at 7 o'clock, begin play, and we leave by 9 o'clock. We had a great time last month. The winner took home over $100, so it's $5 to sit down and play, and the person who gathers the most points at the end takes the pot. So he had a good one. We had 24 members join us. We had a great turnout.
Is this euchre stuff, is it a hard game to learn?
Well, I mean, for some people, yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Max.
I'll be sending out Eventbrites this week. So if you would like to be part of that email list to know when all the upcoming events are, just go ahead and shoot me an email and I will put you on the list. Thank you.
Is there any danger we're going to be interrupted by the police because of the gambling?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I might have to do some vetting for anybody who's that kind of person.
Thanks, Max.
Thank you.
Okay, I want to acknowledge all of the work that our service committees have been doing for the last few months. That we have a total of 6 have been working on reviewing more than $100,000 worth of grant requests that we received for the second grant cycle, which is coming up on this coming Friday on the 7th. They're going to be presenting to the Foundation Advisory Committee, and some decisions are going to be made. This is how we make our city and our community a better place to live. We've been doing this for a long time. We give away about $200,000 every year. We do the best we can, and I can't think of a forum that would be better than having to compete for how money is distributed. There's always a shortage, but those committees do great work making sure that they vet the organizations that are receiving grants very well. And it's a big reason why I'm part of Rotary. Before we go too far in this, we have a liaison here with the opportunity to introduce the annual campaign chairman. Steve and Greg, would you come to the podium? Steve Miller, Greg Steenrod.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. We are still hot and heavy into our campaign. Things are going much better. We had a group of folks get together on Wednesday and we did some phone calls. So if you took our phone call, we thank you. If you didn't take our phone call, hopefully you will. And we were able to have some great conversations with a lot of folks and increase our goals. So if you have not donated to the foundation, we would really appreciate you giving it consideration, whether it's 10, 25, 50, 250, $1,000 or whatever you can give. We would appreciate keeping these grants moving forward. Greg's going to talk just briefly about where we're at in the campaign, and hopefully we can continue to drive our numbers up from a percentage perspective.
All right, thank you, Steve. Good afternoon, fellow Rotarians. Like Steve mentioned, we had a phone-a-thon last week. It was a great success. Wanted to thank a few people who were able to join us there. So Cindy Binkley, Janina Douglas, if you would stand, please. Alex Dew, Mary Mancini, Steve Miller, Kevin Mullen, John Romer, and Joe Tefelsky. So we had a call center over at Thread Marketing. Thanks again for Thread and Kevin for putting that together. We were dialing and smiling for dollars, and the Rotarians were very appreciative and helpful for us to take our call. So anyways, please have a seat, but thank you very much. So our goal this year was to really increase the participation in the level of the number of Rotarians that have donated. So before the phone-a-thon, I think we were just short of 50%. After the phone-a-thon, now we're close to 60%, and we're really pushing for that 80% goal. So a great increase, and again, we really appreciate it. And like Steve mentioned, so you can do the math, right? If 60% have contributed, we've got about 40% that haven't, right? So please consider it, and let's reach the goal together. Thank you very much.
Hey, Steve. Thank you, Greg and Steve. Kathy Mikulajic, would you come to the podium and make a grant presentation?
On behalf of the Toledo Rotary Club Foundation, it is my pleasure today to present a grant check in the amount of $6,000 to Monroe Street Neighborhood Center. The grant will provide funds for the Monroe Street Neighborhood Center Freedom School. The Freedom School provides summer reading programs for children ages 5 to 12. During this free program, young scholars spend 6 weeks participating in reading classes taught by local college students. Our Youth Services Committee members received the request, participated in the vetting process, and made the decision to recommend grant approval to our club board and foundation trustees. It is due to the countless Toledo Rotarians who give unselfishly, which enables us to provide these grants. Thank you to everyone who continues to support our Toledo Rotary Club Foundation so we can continue to aid in supporting the needs of our community. I'd like to invite Mrs. Clara Petty, Executive Director of Monroe Street Neighborhood, to come to the podium and accept the grant.
On behalf of the Monroe Street Neighborhood Center and its board of directors, we want to thank the Rotary Club for their generous donation in support of our Freedom School. Thank you.
Clara, this club supports literacy in general. We do everything that we can. As a matter of fact, early childhood literacy is very important to us. It's one of our main projects, our transformational projects. So what you do and your organization does is very important to us. Thank you very much. Where is Scott Henshaw? There you are. Would you come up and tell us about the recent survey?
Good to see you, sir.
You too.
All right, thank you, President Tim. Appreciate that. Fellow Rotarians, I'm here today to give you a short update on the membership survey that was sent out a few weeks ago. About 96 folks participated, and we appreciate everyone's responses. Thank you very much. So we did the survey to kind of get a pulse on the membership right now. What is Toledo Rotary doing enough of, not doing enough of, and to find out what's the most value Rotarians are getting from the club, and where is it that we can bring more value. The last time we did this survey was about 2 years ago, and at that time, the issue seemed to be the foundation and where was it that money was going that people donated, how was it different from Rotary International, et cetera. So what we were able to figure out from that survey, just so you know, is that now people are much clearer in understanding where the money goes, and that's been helpful. In this survey, we learned a few new things. We wanted to take an opportunity to find out why people are, well, can we change, is there any way I can pull out from that a little bit? We wanted to take an opportunity to find out why people came into Rotary and what primarily did motivate them to join. So service obviously was a huge piece of it, the business connections, the largest piece of it, and there were some other reasons too. But it kind of helped us understand that there are a good number of folks participating in each of these things within the club today. So what are people getting most out of it? So the mission, their business connections, the Monday meetings seem to be, of course, still a pretty big draw. And that, I think, obviously is a testament to our program committee that keeps doing a great job with scheduling our speakers. So what we're, I think, another thing, and as we can see from this slide, that the events at the Monday meetings are kind of one of the tops. And then from there are several other ways in which our membership is participating in Toledo Rotary. I think we had another slide, Walt, that shows some of the things that members enjoy least about Rotary. And some of these I think are predictable. Some of them obviously will be things that the board will be able to reflect upon some more and find out what kind of solutions that we can come up with. Well, I will say we also received some very thoughtful comments from folks about what they hope could change about Rotary internally, and of course, all those will be considered. But the message here, I think, from what we're doing, that's a slide about the social media uses by people. Walt, can we go to the next slide? I think the message here primarily is the fact that people are getting out of Rotary is the service that they enjoy and also the business contact opportunities in the club. People are involved, but could get more involved. And we will continue to announce and publicize the events happening in the club. I encourage you, as always, to get involved in what interests you. If you don't know what that is, please come see me because I will help you find it, I promise. There's a lot to get involved in right now. Last week, in fact, the Membership Development Committee had that very successful event at Suburban Bottle. There were 40 people who attended. It was a great event. I know that they are continually, both Shireen and Casey, planning more events. There's also events coming up like the Mesa Bike Ride. I know I've talked to Kurt and Vocational Services. They're planning their own service event. And of course, Max just brought up Euchre. So there's all kinds of things across the spectrum. Our committee, Membership Engagement, is also organizing the food pack for this May, and we're going to have a March Madness watch event party. And we're also working right now on a new and mysterious event that you'll find out more in the coming weeks. We actually have a meeting after this at 1 p.m. So if you want to find out more, please come and participate. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Scott. It was very helpful. Kevin Mullen, would you come to the floor mic and introduce a new member?
Good afternoon.
Our newest Rotarian is such a champion for recycling. I thought about recycling my introduction to Rotary. So I'm pleased to introduce new member Kevin Mullen. All right, so just as he'll tell you, maybe most things might be recyclable, but not everything is. Adam is the executive director of Keep Toledo Lucas County Beautiful. In this role, he partners with the city of Toledo, the Lucas County Solid Waste Management District, and other area organizations to provide adult and youth education programs focusing on proper recycling, litter reduction, and environmental stewardship. Additionally, Keep Toledo Lucas County Beautiful assists with litter cleanups, administers an Adopt a Street road program, and assists with large event trash and recycling logistics as they helped with us with Toledo Jeep Fest last year. He took over as the executive director at the end of 2018. Prior to Keep Toledo Lucas County Beautiful, Adam worked at the Toledo Zoo. He loves our zoo. And just prior to that, at his alma mater, Defiance College, as the director of events and facilities. He is a lucky husband and proud father. His wife, Brittany, works for the Girl Scouts. They live in Perrysburg with their two sons, Wesley and Wyatt. Things he enjoys doing outside of work, the great family activities that Toledo area has to offer, Toledo's fantastic metro parks, including their two dogs on those adventures, and being, quote, that house in the neighborhood where it seems every single kid on the block thinks it's their second home. Pet peeves, people that litter. Algae blooms, people that think that because you can recycle paper, which is made out of wood, that you must also be able to recycle sticks and leaves. You can't. Final bits of information about Adam. One of his current job duties is as a puppeteer as part of Keep Toledo Lucas County Beautiful's youth programming. He sits on the Perrysburg School Safety Task Force, is a member of the Toledo Lucas County Sustainability Commission, is both the vice president of PR and new member mentor for his Toastmasters Club in Maumee, works seasonally for Experiential Systems as a ropes course and zip line trainer, works occasionally with a local organization that provides team building and leadership development programs and personality assessments to high school, college, and adult corporate groups and organizations. One final observation, he clearly doesn't have time to sleep, and we couldn't be happier to have him as a new member of this fine club. Please join me in welcoming Adam Cassie.
Hello, Adam.
Hello.
It's nice to meet you.
You as well.
And tell me, what is it that you know about Rotary so far?
I think this is my third month, actually, and I was saying it's a lot easier sitting on that side of the table than when I presented a few months ago. So I've enjoyed all the speakers in the community and made my donation just recently so that you are persistent.
Yeah.
So that's all I'm saying.
I'll take that as a compliment. I want to welcome you to the world of Rotary. You've got 440 some friends in this club. You're joining a group of Rotarians. I think it's about 1.2 or 1.3 million worldwide. It's always good to have friends anywhere you go. This is our roster, and this is the pin signifying that you are right now the newest Rotarian in the world.
Okay. Thank you very
Welcome.
much.
Bob Savage, I gotta say that you've been doing a great job this year in your role, you and your committee, in terms of programs. We've been getting some of the best speakers that we always get good speakers. That's why we're members of the Toledo Rotary Club. But you don't get to come up here unless you've got something interesting to say, and you've done a good job helping us with that. So thank you and your committee. And would you come up and introduce our speaker for today?
Thanks, President Tim, and certainly thanks to the rest of the committee and Stephanie, who can't be here today. I get blamed occasionally when it's not my fault, so I suppose I should just say thank you for a lot of the work that the committee does. Neil MacKinnon and I have actually known each other for quite a while, probably about 25 years. Our offices were not all that far from each other, over in one of our mutual friends affectionately referred to as God's country, on the other side of the river, the east side of the river. And we also both belong to the East Toledo Club. And see from a couple looks in the room, it's not widely known that there is an East Toledo Club. Actually, a group of good business folks that get together to help the community, not unlike this room, except a lot smaller, meets over at Kuzno Steakhouse once a month over there. But for those of you who don't know Neil or don't know him well and may have seen him out, don't let the jovial smile and his often gregarious personality fool you. He's sharp. He's always been a leader, starting way back in high school. Neil was the Bulldogs of Rossford's quarterback back in the day when he was summoning his inner Lamar Jackson and running the squad over in Rossford. Actually, one of my colleagues in my office has known Neil even longer than I have and said, you know, no one can ever say that Neil doesn't give back to this community and doesn't put in time to serve. Rossford has been growing. I think he's going to tell you a little bit more about Rossford than just Amazon today. There are a number of things going on there, and Rossford is in prime position to grow. And I'll give Neil credit. Neil is a Rossford native. He stayed there. He stayed there to help and move Rossford forward. He didn't have to do that. Neil could live somewhere else in our community and somewhere else in some other community. Give him a lot of credit and give a warm Rotary welcome to Neil MacKinnon.
I hate to ruin Bob's streak. No, I'm kidding. He's a great man, and I love him. Anyways, thank you, and I appreciate the invite. You know, it's been an exciting year for the city of Rossford, and they told me I only had 90 minutes, so I'll try not to go over. I'm kidding. Actually, they told me the exact opposite. So I just want to say a few things, and then I'll tell you the Amazon story. I have some team members in the house. Robert Roos, he's a Rossford City Council member. Tom Euler, Dean, and Bob Williams from Manick and Smith. I don't make a move without any of those guys. So it's much appreciated what you do for me and for our great city. So thank you. Anyways, I'm going to tell you the Amazon story because that's what I was asked to do today. And then I'll just open it up for questions about economic development or any questions you might have about Rossford. I love telling this story. It's a great story, but you're not going to believe it when I tell you, and you're going to be very unimpressed. And you'll know why. Also, this is a little overwhelming. I don't get asked to speak very often, and you'll know why here soon. And also, the average crowd of any talk or speech I give is to usually about 4 to 6 people. That's on average who comes to our council meetings. Dr. Robinson, I did not see you. Hello, my friend. I lie all the time. I tell people that Owens Community College, even though it's in Pearisburg Township and in Northwood, I tell everybody it's in Rossford, especially if they're out of town. So anyways, here we go. It was a year ago, June, second Wednesday of the month. Very dear friend and mentor of mine, Steve Surchek, called me. And he said, "What are you doing for lunch?" And at the time, I was kind of depressed because we had come so close to some pretty amazing and big projects. One of them was the Anderson's headquarters. The other was First Solar. And word had gotten to me that NSG, the former LOF, was going to build an additional plant, but they weren't going to build it in Rossford, but yet they were keeping their operations in Rossford. So right now I'm 0 for 3, and in a big way. So Steve calls, he goes, "What are you doing for lunch?" I go, "I don't care, whatever you want." I would have done anything. And he goes, "Well, meet me at Mo's place in a half hour." So I met him at Mo's place at noon. We sat in the back. He goes, "Have you talked to Ken Marciniak?" And who's another friend and mentor. I go, "No." He goes, "Well, don't call him." I said, all right, was something wrong? He goes, no, he's going on vacation. Everybody's driving him crazy and he can't get out of town. But he's got a client that he's been working with for about 4 or 5 years. They're in the marketplace. And this morning, that's all we talked about was you and Rossford. And I told Ken, Steve is saying this, how he should contact Neil and look at their inventory. So that very next Wednesday, 1 week later, Ken Marciniak calls and he goes, what are you doing for lunch? And I go, I'll do whatever you want me to do. So he goes, well, meet me at Moe's in a half hour. We were at the same table, the same 2 chairs at the exact same time. And he goes, look, I know you talked to Steve, and Steve told you I have a client in the marketplace that I've been working with for a number of years. They're pretty far down the road on this. They've identified 11 sites in about 4 years. And by the way, Rossford is none of them. I said, all right, well, I live here, this isn't, anything new. I said, well, let's have lunch and I'll take you and I'll show you our inventory. So we finished lunch. There's an annexation piece that's between Buck Road and Mandel. It's got some great frontage on I-75. I showed him that. Showed him the N.A. Harmon Business Park. I showed him Miller Diversified's property. I showed him everything. So we pull over on Dimeling Road, which you can't even call a road. We get out of the car and he goes, you know what? I can't tell my client what to do. I have no influence on them. I'm their Trojan horse. They give me their list. I go into the marketplace and I identify what they're looking for. They have a whole team out west. And then I'm like, out west, big, out west. So Amazon was one of the companies I thought it might be because I knew they were coming into the marketplace. So we get out of the car. He goes, I'm not doing my job or for my client if I don't at least tell them about these sites. They're fantastic. This is exactly what they're looking for. But again, we're really far down the road. And we've already identified 11 sites. They go up to Detroit, down to Lima, east over past Sandusky, and west past Fort Wayne. So we leave, and I was just optimistic, and I think I am by nature. It's just eventually you're going to hit. So that next Wednesday, exact same time, Ken Marciniak calls, and he goes, what are you doing for lunch? I go, I'll do anything you want me to do for lunch. I'll go anywhere you want me to go. He goes, no, let's just meet back at Moe's place. Exact same table, exact same chairs. And he goes, look, I don't want to get your hopes up, but we're down to 5 sites. Rossford's 2 of them. And then I'm thinking, why'd you tell me that? Won't be able to sleep, or obviously I was able to eat, but so anyways, it was only about 6 weeks later, he called me again, and he said, what are you doing for lunch? And again, I said, I'll do anything you want to do for lunch. He goes, let's just meet at Moe's. I got some good news for you. So I'm like, all right. So I meet him at Moe's. He goes, we're down to 2 sites, and they're both in Rossford, and they told me to go make a land deal. That was it. There was no PowerPoint presentation, no site selection committee. It was 5 cheeseburgers and a salad because this is a true story. I'm not kidding. It was 5 cheeseburgers, 5 orders of fries, and 1 Mediterranean salad, because if you know Steve Surchek, he's a vegan. Is that right? Vegan? Yeah, vegetarian, vegan. So anyways, that's the whole truth and nothing but the truth. That's exactly how it happened, word for word. And if you want to talk about the city of Rossford, if you have any questions about economic development, we've had a great year and a half. The N.A. Harmon Business Park, everybody knows who they are. They're in 18 states, thousands of jobs and millions of square feet. They were the first to plant their flag, and I can't tell you how much we appreciate that. We have the largest and second largest athletic domes in Rossford, Ohio, in the entire state. Medical Mutual of Ohio is moving their headquarters, their Northwest Ohio headquarters, to Rossford, Ohio. Capital Tire just announced that they're consolidating all of their logistics and distribution and moving their headquarters to Rossford, Ohio. And then the entertainment district. Where's Ben at? He's around here something. There he is. Ben from Hugger USA is a dear friend, and they're a Rossford company. And he and his dad and the N.A. Harmon Group and some other people are putting an entertainment district in right directly across the street from the Hollywood Casino. It's going to consist of multiple hotels and a bunch of different restaurant pads with some water features and entertainment venues. So again, thank you so much for having me. And if you have any questions, feel free. Thank you.
Do we have any questions for Neil?
So when is the Amazon Fulfillment Center going to be complete?
It's going to be operational this August, and we'll start having job fairs with Amazon, and I'll be contacting you here in April. An entry-level job there. This is pretty amazing. It's going to be $17 an hour. I know what you're thinking, but that's entry level. But from day one, you have the same medical plan as Jeff Bezos. You have full medical, dental, and vision. You have 90% tuition reimbursement. You also have free job training. You have a 401k with a 50% company match. You have fraternal leave, you have maternal leave, and you have paid vacations. That's day one. So, and that's the other thing that's great about this. It's new jobs to the market. It's not a Toledo company moving to Perrysburg or a Rossford company moving to Bowling Green. These are 2,000 plus new jobs to the marketplace, and they're not all entry level. So that's a rising tide that's going to raise a lot of ships. Go ahead.
Mr. MacKinnon, could you elaborate a little bit on what Amazon saw in the properties that you had in Rossford that made them more appealing than other places?
Sure, absolutely. There's three things. One, we're just blessed with great geography. I-75, you guys know, is the longest north-south highway, and 80-90 is the longest east-west highway. We're within a day's drive, about 65% of the entire population of North America. We have rail, we have shipping, and we have train. I mean, when I say we, not Rossford, Northwest Ohio is the epicenter of the world. I know people are rolling their eyes right now, but truly, geographically, there's really no place better to be, especially if you want to get goods to and from different places. The other thing, and this is very important, and I don't think everybody knows this or understands this, but in today's climate and the competition for economic development, you need, remember these words, speed to market. No bureaucracy, no nonsense. The zoning guy is not going to hold up a $500 million project. You know, you need to be all in. And when this got on our table, and Robert and Tom were there, we formed the team. And the team consisted of myself, these guys, and the officials from the county and all the utilities. And there was never a meeting without them. I led every meeting. They sat right here next to me. You had a question about zoning, boom, zoning guy was there. You have a question for the fire marshal was there. You have a question for Columbia Gas, Toledo Edison, Northwest Water and Sewer, they're at the table. There's no emails or no nonsense going back and forth. Speed to market. And Rob, you know this. The financial climate too, the days of optioning 200 acres and then developing it over 15 or 20 years doesn't happen anymore. That's not how it works. It happens now, and you have to be fast, and you have to have buy-in. You have to have a team that has the same vision you have and understands the mission.
Can you elaborate a little bit on what the day-to-day activities will be at the fulfillment center? Logistics, warehousing, anything like that that you're able to
Yeah,
share?
sure. And this is just what they've told me. It is what it is. It's a fulfillment center. Products will be coming in and out of there basically every second of the day, 24 hours a day.
Does that lead to spin-off businesses like nearby warehousing or ancillary businesses related to maybe, I don't know, trucking or fueling fleet vehicles, anything like that?
Absolutely. Matter of fact, and I didn't have this on the list, but Whiteford Kenworth Trucking is going to be building a 60,000 square foot dealership and service center. Amazon just bought 1,000 trucks from them. So that's one of the spinoffs. And then also there's going to be a very large, what I would call fuel station for not only trucks, but also cars, and a small grocery store will come with that. So, go ahead, Gary.
One of the things that we haven't had a chance to talk about is I'm glad Rossford had an inventory collecting because the spinoff is all of the jobs that are created. People are going to live all over. They may not necessarily all live in Rossford. I think that the entire region will benefit from your good fortune of having Amazon come to Rossford. Maybe talk about that.
Yeah, absolutely. Here's the other thing too. The political climate in Northwest Ohio is different, and it's for the better. For example, before I became a mayor and before Gary got on council, Gary and I knew each other. We're friends. Same goes with Dick Edwards and Bowling Green. I knew him forever, friends with him. Ed Schimmel, Northwood, Tom Mack in Perrysburg, Richard Carr, Maumee. I know those guys, and I can call them and they can call me. Matter of fact, Wade Capsa-Cabbage was one of the first people I called to tell the good news about Amazon. He said, "That's fantastic. Whatever you want, you get. If you need anything, just call me." And I know he meant that. I do. And the days of that goofy competition, I mean, it's, anything great or good that happens in Toledo is great or good for Rossford, and vice versa. Rossford, Ohio is the closest municipality and Main Street to downtown Toledo. The city of Toledo is not only our neighbor, but a friend and a business partner. I mean, that's just the truth. So not only do I have resources at my disposal, I can use Toledo's also. I can use Northwood's, Perrysburg's, Maumee's, Bowling Green. I mean, it's a great climate to do business. I'm not a real political person. I live my life in the middle, but the economy's great and the planets have lined up. Go ahead.
I have another question. So I just wonder how much time has been spent on considering if there's 2,000 new jobs, what that does logistically to Perrysburg, Rossford. You've got 1,000 trucks coming in, and what impact on the roads and all of that new movement of that many people in that area, which is already busy but kind of quiet there in the Golden Triangle. So
There's a guy sitting at that table that could probably answer it better than I could.
Okay.
This project was very fast. Talk about speed to market in a project this size. But we're planning for it. We're working with the state, the Ohio Department of Transportation, the county, and our neighbors. So whatever's not done is going to get done. and we'll just make it happen. As for 2,000 new jobs, you know, let's say each one made, I'll just throw a number out there, $40,000. That's a heck of a payroll. And then you times that by 7, that's that much new money to the region. And there's no losers in any of that. It raises the bar. Because to retain and attract talent, you're going to have to match or beat that. Right? Okay, go ahead. I am definitely far from an expert when it comes to that, but when you have that many goods coming in and coming out of one facility and 2,000 people handling those goods, I mean, that's going to be a big win for anybody in logistics in Northwest Ohio. Water, the impact on water, rail, and I'm sorry. Yeah, so when you have that much coming in and out of one facility 24/7, that's going to be an increase in logistics for everybody in logistics.
Feeding off Greg's question, is this going to impact the airport?
I hope so. I love Toledo Express because whenever I go to Chicago, I always fly out of Toledo Express. And whenever I do any travel, I try to fly out of Toledo Express because it's like flying private. I mean, it's not that I've ever flown private, but I mean, it's just, I get on the turnpike at Rossford and, 20 minutes, I'm in the parking lot. 2 minutes after that, I'm in security, and 30 seconds after that, I'm at the bar having a drink. I mean, it's perfect. Mr. Eistetter. About 110, which means there's about plus or minus 1,200 additional that's available for investment. You have to remember, being a mayor or a city council member is almost like being a business owner and a CEO. You really have one mission, and that's to retain and attract talent and retain and attract investment in industry. That's it. Everything else is way down the line. Anyone else? Yes.
I have a non-Amazon question.
All right.
If it's allowed. So a couple of years ago, you had a crazy plan that made the news that you wanted gondolas from Rossford to downtown Toledo.
I did.
One, can you share that plan with people and tell us how far along we are on making that a reality? Because I think it's brilliant.
Thank you so much. That's one of those situations where, and I'm still learning this after 40 years, is, maybe some ideas you just don't need to talk about until you. No, in all seriousness, I was watching 60 Minutes one Sunday, and they were doing a segment on Medellin, Colombia, and how it's basically been a worn-torn, unrest, all the drug cartels and this and that. And somebody down there, and it was very hard to get from one city to another. So they started these gondolas. And all of a sudden, people could travel safely, and it was an experience. You weren't just getting in a car, or, it was beautiful. You're flying over the city, the views, the mountains. It was amazing. And that alone gave people comfort and turned that city around. And I'm like, well, again, we're the closest municipality in Main Street to downtown Toledo. Rossford's the closest municipality in Main Street to Northwest Ohio's top 5 entertainment attractions. I can get to Steve's office in about 7 minutes and a $9 Uber ride. I mean, so I think a big thing too, if you look, we need connectivity. Like in Rossford, we legalized golf carts. You know, silly, not a game changer, but makes us different than every place else. So I thought they have these things at Cedar Point. I mean, I'm sure ours would be different, but I mean, I just thought it was an idea that we should look at. Maybe we could get some grant dollars to do it. Again, we're the closest municipal. I wanted to take advantage of our geography. And the more successful Toledo is, and the more successful Northwest Ohio is, gives Rossford the best chance for reaching their full potential. So you should always root for your neighbors. You want your neighbors' schools to be the best, and you want your neighbors' streets to be the safest, and you want everybody to win, and that's how you go to market. Because when I bring people in from outside, again, I lie, I tell them Owens Community College is in Rossford, and it's close enough. Plus, I'm friends with Steve, so it's, I sell them on Toledo. I sell them on the Mud Hens. I sell them on the Huntington Center and the Walleye. I sell them on the zoo. I sell them on Owens Community College, Bowling Green State University, the University of Toledo. I mean, these are amenities that you can get to from the Rossford Municipal Building within minutes with no problem. So why wouldn't you want to live, work, and play right here? My strategy is this. Again, Rossford sits in between downtown Toledo and everything that's going on there. And just to the south are two of the most affluent communities in all of Northwest Ohio, Perrysburg and Perrysburg Township. I want to get you coming and going. Go ahead, Gary.
I just want you to know we're going to start instructing our economic development people to go to Moe's for lunch and order.
Harpo will be very thrilled to hear that. Anyone else? Go ahead. No, they're in the big three C's: Cleveland, Columbus, and Cincinnati. Yeah, it's the first one in Northwest Ohio, but it's not going to be the last.
So it's not you who constantly pay sales tax.
No, that's the county. I can give you their number if you want. That's like the one thing I'm not responsible for. So, anyone else?
I got a question.
Go ahead, Bob.
You know, gondolas, but they're not that bad. We've all had worse ideas out of the mouths of some mayors around Northwest Ohio. But actually on Saturday, I was thinking about this and I was driving up I-75, and as many wins as you've had in Rossford, Northwood's had, and Perrysburg, at least from my, amateur eye looking out, there's still a lot of empty inventory on land up there. How's the pipeline?
It's great. I think the future is going to be the 795 corridor. I think basically from 280 to the Turnpike, you're going to see that built up commercially. When I mean commercially, I mean not retail, but industry. That's what the experts are telling me. If you live in a community that has great real estate, remember speed to market. It doesn't matter if you have a great site next to an expressway or a turnpike. And today, I met with some of the top site selection guys in the country. Guys who are not only working for the Fortune 5,000, but really their clients are the Fortune 200. And for you, they take the path of least resistance too. Because if it's coming from Hong Kong, it really doesn't matter if it's Rossford or Findlay or someplace in between. So what you have to do, and you have to tell your planners this, and your mayors this, and your city council members this, you have to set your city up for success. So if you have a great site, it won't even be looked at or considered unless you have the zoning in place. So you need to identify your inventory and decide who you want to be, what you want to be. You have a vision and you have a mission, and you don't be afraid to fail. That's how you do it. And it's, you don't have to be the smartest guy in the world to be a mayor. You basically have to look at cities that are successful and find out what they're not doing. And then you find cities that are successful and you steal all their stuff. It's really that easy. See, I know you had a long day today. Look, I give my cell phone number out to anybody that wants it. If you call the Rossford Municipal Building, if I'm not there, they'll say, would you like his voicemail or would you like your cell phone? I'm available 24/7 if anybody needs anything or wants to discuss further. Thank you very much.
Wow. What a good news story. Very well presented. I'm amazed. It's 2,000 good paying jobs and all the feeder jobs after that. Congratulations and thank you for your leadership in
Thank you
this
so
community.
much. It's been a lot of fun.
I'm going to have gifts in a moment. You did such a good job. But before I do that, I just have a question for the audience. Who here wants to go to Moe's? They owe you, by the way. Neil, thank you very much for this presentation today. We have a book on the history of Toledo that thanks for coming to and speaking to us today. In addition, we are going to make a contribution in your name to Polio Plus.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Where is Moe's?
Moe's, if you guys don't know, it's directly across the street from our brand new $80 million high school with the latest technology and athletic facilities.
Thank you so much. We have meetings after this meeting today. First, we have membership development at the North Cape Room. We have membership engagement at the Board of Governors Room. And we have water services meeting in Presque Isle. And we must have Chuck out there somewhere. You know, I can't see anything out there.
If we must, we must.
Are you there?
A young college freshman decided to try out for the football team. Can you tackle? Asked the coach. Watch this, said the freshman, who proceeded to run over to a minivan, wrap his arms around it, and flipped it over. Wow, said the coach. I'm impressed. Can you run? Of course I can run, said the freshman. He was off like a shot. And in just over 5 seconds, he had run a 100-yard dash. Great, enthused the coach. But can you pass a football? The freshman hesitated for a few seconds. Well, sir, if I can swallow it, I can probably pass it.
Okay. And thank you very much, Chuck. Next week, we have Wade Kepsakevich. I hope that's the right pronunciation. He's our speaker next week. And with that, we are adjourned.